Hey guys, how you doing? It is TheFrXion here, or TheFrXion, however you want to call me. And today we will have a review video, or some kind of review video of the Is7. This is a new series, new format that I'm trying to implement right here on YouTube, and it's called What to Expect. And it's pretty much just if you are, World of Tanks has been out since like 2011. That's 3 years now. It's gonna celebrate its 3 years anniversary, and I'm gonna try to get a special video for that day. I'm gonna try and make one. I'm not gonna promise anything, and yeah. So I'm gonna try to make this video like what to expect. This is kind of a review for all my tier 10 tanks. That includes my bad set, my E100, my E50M, 92, the E4, E3, E5, and the M48 pattern. I don't own any other tier 10s at the moment. Those are already 9 tier 10s that I own. If I get lucky, I will be able to get the 261 eventually, because I already own the 212. I only have to get the 212 and start playing that piece of tank again. So yeah, I will do just that, and my next target will definitely be the 57 once I get the 69. So enough of all the babbling of other tanks. Let's get to this piece of work. In my opinion, the Is7 looks really nice. Let's look at the description of the tank. Heavy tank Is7. The development of the Is7 started in the spring of 1945, so it was still in the war era. As we know, the war ended in spring of 1945. Actually ended later in I think after summer somewhere, when when Japan actually surrendered, and yeah. So prototypes successfully underwent trials in 1946 and 1947. However, the Is7 never saw mass production. Well, this is probably because after 1946, 1947, the need for heavy tanks was really not there anymore. I think the main battle tanks, which pretty much just took place of the medium and heavy tanks, pretty much yeah. They dominated them, like main battle tanks, T-72, T-62, and yeah, the need for those heavy tanks was pretty much over. So let's see, this tank, it has 2,150 HP, and since I like to compare this tank to my E5, because they are like heavy tanks. They are really, in my opinion, they're like similar in the category. Not, of course, not in every category, but they're similar in some of them, because they are heavy tanks. The E5 is a little bit smaller than the Is7, but still, comparing the we could actually compare it to the E100, E5. Of course, they all play completely different, but we could compare all three of them. So the Is7 has 2,150 HP. It has 50 HP less than the E5. It is a big tank, and I think the reduced HP is probably because of its great armor, but we'll come to that later on. So the E100 has 2,700 hit points. This is probably because this tank just has a lot of armor and weighs a lot more than the Is7. Weighs almost double the weight of the E5, and no, triple the weight of the E5. So yeah, the weight is about 70 tons, which is pretty light in this respect, but the E5 is lighter. If you compare it to the E100 or the Moss, it's 150 tons, and the Moss is, let's check the Moss real fast. The Moss, the Incredible Moss, which actually stands in Kursk at the moment. No, in Kursk, Kubinka Tank Museum, has almost 200 tons. So yeah, you cannot compare them to them. So the engine power is 1050 horsepower on the engine. Of course, that is a really high number for the load, or for the weight, because it's horsepower per ton. And if you compare that, the E100 is 1200. It has 150 horsepower more, but still it has to work a lot with a lot more mass, with 150 tons, and that is why the E100 is slower. And also the E5 only has 875 horsepower. Even though it's the lightest tank, it isn't enough to make the tank go faster than the IS7. So the IS7, its top speed is 59.6 kilometers per hour. Of course, I think this is only downhill. On flat surfaces, you will get a constant 40 to 50 kilometers per hour if you use the off-road driving skill, which will help you a lot if you're going off the streets. So traverse speed is 28 degrees per second. If you compare it to the E100, of course it's faster. It mainly has to do with its heavy weight. And then it is a little bit slower, 2 degrees per second slower than the E5. But I think that's not that much of trouble or of a bad thing. Then now the thing why this tank is, in my opinion, a very good tank. It is also one of the first tier 10 tanks in the game, or pretty much the first tier 10 tank in the game. And now let's see the frontal armor. So you have this frontal armor down here. This lower plate is pretty much the only weak spot on the frontal armor on IS7 if you have a high caliber gun. This tank is so special because it has an angled frontal armor, which is really amazing. This is one of the reasons why you don't angle this tank. If you compare the armor, it has 150. It's absolutely nothing in comparison to the E5 and the E100. The E5 has 254 millimeters of frontal armor, and the E100 200. But you have to know that the E5 is not as crazy angled. It has a lot bigger lower plate than the IS7, and the E100 is exactly the same. So these weak spots are displayed a lot bigger than the weak spots of the IS7, or the weak spot of the IS7. If you compare, it's really small. And also, if the tanker drives a little bit forward or a little bit backward, you will get a bounce most of the time. Also, one of the weak spots up front is what I heard is the lights right here. There is a little bit, the armor is not too angled right here, but you will definitely need a high caliber gun or gold ammo. And this frontal patch right here, if you are engaging a IS7 up front and you do have the height advantage, then just shoot the top, because the armor does not count for the top and this part right here. This is why when artillery hits you right on top, it's probably going to destroy you with one shot. So frontally, this tank has not much to worry. Also, to understand why this tank is such a beast up front is because it has one of the toughest turrets in the game. Its turret has a 240 millimeter armor count up front, then 185 on the side and 95 on the rear. The thing is, this armor is angled. It is not like the E100. There is not like the E100 a 90-degree angle where you can just pen with. Okay, it's not a 90-degree angle, but it's pretty flat. It's a very flat surface. And if you have gold ammo, you can pen if the E100 is facing you, and that means you have to angle with this tank with its turret. This tank, on the other hand, though, you don't have to angle your turret. Even if guys come from the side, they shoot on your turret from the side, you will most often than not bounce their shots because of the angle, or just the form of the turret. Up front, the really only part where you can pen this turret is the commander's hatch up here, which is really hard to hit from a very far distance because the tank is pretty low. The profile is very low, And also here the side cheeks, really hard to pen. You have to get a 9-degree angle, and he cannot turn the turret. You can shoot this area, but I only advise you to do that if there's no shot at the lower plate, no shot at the commander's hatch, and if you only have a high caliber gun. Otherwise, don't engage this tank up front from close ranges. And yeah, so on the side turret right here, you can pen this area. If you have a high caliber gun, you can maybe pen right here. The star is maybe one of the points where you can pen him. But the thing is, keep in mind, if the tank returns his turret just a little bit, it will most often than not bounce. On the back side of the turret, this is the only part of the turret I would actually shoot myself, because the other parts would be just a waste of ammunition, and you will definitely go through right here. But still, there are some bounces. Like if he turns his turret a little bit, or if you shoot a little bit too high, you will still bounce. So this is one of the things. Well, thanks. This tank, why this tank is so feared up close. So let's go to the side armor. This tank is, in my opinion, I don't know, a lot of people don't like the tank, probably because of its gun, but we'll come to that later on. In my opinion, this tank is, for close combat, it is one of the toughest enemies you can go up against. So the side armor of this tank, no, actually I forgot something up front. Don't angle your tank. If you angle your tank, they will get a shot at this angled armor, and it's gonna be like a 90-degree angle for them, and they will be able to pen you. This is one of the things you don't want to get. You don't want to get hit right here at an angle. If you're like you're shooting like at this direction, and somebody's sitting right here at this spot and shooting you right up here, this part right here, it's a little bit flat and it's gonna go through. So of course there's still a chance that it's gonna bounce, but don't angle your tank. Don't angle it like the E100. Always stay with your front to the guy. Angle it a little bit that they cannot shoot your lower plate. Like you have to find the perfect medium, but you have to still be careful that nobody can shoot your side right here. So let's get to the side armor. This tank is really, since they introduced the no damage but a pen policy on the tracks now too, I highly advise you not to shoot the tracks. They will absorb damage, and most of the time you will be frustrated with this tank. Shooting this tank at the side is a pain in the ass. Shooting this tank in general is a pain in the ass because it's just a hell of a great tank. The armor count is just great. So, excuse me, I highly advise you to shoot the frontal track, the last track, or the part right here in between the tracks and the spaced armor. This entire part right here, this entire part is spaced armor. If you get unlucky, you will get a hit but no damage. And also, it's a little bit angled up here, and right there, there's the turret. You will bounce or you will do 0 damage. And to minimize the chances of something like that is going to happen, just shoot in between the tracks, or the first track and the last track. This is on both sides. And now to the weakest part of the armor, the backside. So we haven't compared this to the other tanks now. The hull armor and the turret armor. As you all know, the E5 is up front. It's a beast. If you can hide this lower plate, and if you can hide that freaking turret up top. The turret on the E5 is pretty much the weak spot are right here, here, and right here. You can still easily take out the E5 in my opinion. It's not like the Is7 freaking tank that has incredible armor up front. Even though it has a 254mm armor count, it doesn't mean that everybody's gonna shoot up front. They're gonna shoot your lower plate or your commander's hatch. They're not that stupid, the players nowadays. So the side armor of the E5 is pretty damn ridiculous. With 76mm, you can easily pen it. with a HE. If you get a spaced armor right there, if you don't hit the tracks, you will definitely do damage. You will do damage anyway with any caliber in tier 8 to tier 10 on the side armor. And on the backside, 38, we don't even have to talk about it. You will not bounce this ass. This is impossible to bounce. And the side armor, it's not angled as the Is7. It's really weak, the back. And so yeah, pretty much the Is7 has the advantage right there with its armor. So the back of the Is7, even though it is not a flat surface, you will most definitely go through it most of the time. It is a little bit angled, so there is a off chance that you will bounce if you have a really bad angling shot right there, but most of the time you will get through there. One of the main weak spots of all the Soviet tanks is that their armor or their engine is really weak, and it likes to catch on fire a lot. Also, one of the things is that the Is7 was known to be, or was very frequently known to be, exploding because of ammo rack hits and being blasted to bits with one shot. Let's see my battle count. I do have let's see, where's the Is7? I do have 127 games, and in these 127 games, I was ammo wrecked once by a 1803, and pretty much it can happen at any time. But I think they reduced the chances of ammo wrecking in this game, or for this tank specifically. So now we're going to the gun. Let's see the gun. This is a 130mm. It is only on the Is7. It's not on the Is4. Let's compare it. We don't need the E100. Okay, we actually can take the E100 gun and the E5 gun and the Is4 gun. Let's go to the E100. Get the gun out. E5. Get the gun out. And the Is4. Let's see. So, let's get back to garage. Switch over to the Is7 again, and let's go. So I'm gonna put it all to the side real fast, so I can show you the gun. So the gun, as you can see, it is a pretty damn big gun. It is a 130mm caliber gun, a gun that is on no other tank, a caliber that is actually not quite well known. The normal caliber are 120, 155, or 122 on the Russians. So this gun is pretty much a unique gun for the Russian side, even for the Russian side. So it has a 130mm caliber, a rate of fire of 4.38 of 3 shots per minute. Of course, I have gun rammer and vents on it, so I have a reload time of about 11 seconds or 10 seconds. If you have brothers in arms, it will be even faster. And yeah, so armor piercing, it shoots armor piercing, APCR, and high explosive. So it's pretty much a standard formula. It's no hash or heat like the Americans or the British that they use. And the average penetration on the AP shell is 250. If you compare this to the 122 of the Is4, it is 8mm of penetration less. On the 15cm of the E100, it's 15mm more, and on the M58 gun of the E5, it's about 8 seconds. No, 8mm penetration more. So, with APCR, you will have a 303mm pen and a 68 with HE. Oh, where was I? I'm back. Just had to clean my nose real fast. So the gun on this tank, 130mm, as already said, it's only for this tank. It does have a fire rate of 4.38, and yeah, if you compare this gun, its diversion is pretty much higher at 100 meters, so it's less accurate than the 120mm gun of the E5. Also, its aim time is 1.4 seconds slower than the E5. That means this tank maybe is not the best sniper tank. That's why I highly advise to use a gun laying drive and a large caliber gun rammer, because also the E5 has a faster rate of fire. But the thing is, the reliability of this of the damage on this gun is a lot higher than on the E5. On the E5 you will see yourself doing 350 damage more often than not, and on the Is7 you will do 470 minimum up to 600 damage, which is actually really nice in my opinion. So the average penetration is 250 on the AP shells, 303 on the APCR, and 68 on the HE shells. Not like the other counterparts. All the other counterparts shoot heat rounds. They all have a little bit higher penetration, except for the 15 centimeter gun of the E100. The AP shells have higher penetrations by 8 millimeters. That's not that much. The E100 has less penetration by 15 millimeters. That's why I highly advise you to use premium or heat rounds on the 15 millimeter gun on the E100. And pretty much this tank shoots APCR. APCR has a lower penetration rate than the heat rounds on these tanks, and by 37 millimeters difference. But I'm not sure. I think you'll be able to pen anything with APCR rounds. You'll see that in my in the gameplay video that I'll show afterwards. So let's take a look at the repair costs. I'm not entirely sure. I think the repair costs are like similar to any other tier 10 tanks. Then the armor piercing, the AP shells cost 1,118 credits each. Then the APCR costs 4,800 per shot. You can see I'm running with 16 APCR and 14 AP shells. HE rounds, excuse me, cost 978. Automatic fire extinguisher is highly advised for all tier 10 heavy tanks and mediums and light tanks and tank destroyers, whatever. Small repair kit and small first aid kit, really important, because you will have a lot of problems with the driver. If they will kill one of your crewmates, crew members, it's probably the driver, and yeah. So I think you guys should put on enhanced gun laying drive because of the long aiming time. A large caliber gun rammer is what I put on too, and events for better crew skills and for a better reload time. In my opinion, you could also put on binocular. You can put on camouflage net. Actually, you can put on heavy spall liner if you're afraid of artillery, but yeah, that's pretty much all the things that I will put on. So let's jump to the gameplay. Back, I think, yeah, we're the detailed description or all the stuff about the Is7, and going to play a game, or at least this is a recorded version. Let's see, let's go. So we're running the Is7. Is7, I'm gonna show you how this tank is excuse me, is working on the battlefield, how it delivers, and its weaknesses, its pros, and pretty much this is exactly what you're gonna see now. And I have two gameplays, one victory and one loss, and they should actually show you the potential of the Is7 and in case how to fight this tank. First few seconds I was AFK. I had a really bad connection, got kicked out of the game, but I think I wake up about now. Yeah, no. So as you can see, we are going up against a team of very good players that XVM tells us, and on our side we don't have the best the best players on the server, unfortunately. But XVM doesn't always have to be right. You can see right there our bad chat just took out the enemy bad chat. And now this map, it's what is it called, Mountain Pass. It's a pretty old map actually. I really like to go down the 1-2 line, and since this tank is so mobile, you can really get to any spot with this tank. It's actually rather fast. If you keep on the road, you'll be a little bit faster. And right now, so I was just sitting here and holding this spot. I was kind of angling my armor right here. Let's see if we can see that. I was angling my armor so that in case of if I get spot, I can still shoot once and then just drive forward and hug this rock. And this angle, they wouldn't be able to pen my lower plate, and this segment right here, they wouldn't get a 90-degree angle on it. So yeah, since I didn't see any enemy force pushing, I decided I will push with this FV, because otherwise this guy would just suicide, and that's not really what we could use right there. So surprisingly, we were winning, or we were in the lead for the first 3-4 minutes. I'm just gonna speed it up a little bit, and you can see this tank here. Yeah, it's not going more than 30 at the moment, but that is because I'm on terrain, on grass, and all that stuff. And right now we can see that there's a VK7201. One of their better players right over here, and E100 and a Lorraine 40 ton. And now with this tank right here, since you guys know that this tank has great turret armor, you can just go up here and they won't be able to pen you. So I was shooting at this VK. Unfortunately, I bounced the first one, so I started loading gold. I have noticed that I've been loading a lot of gold in this tank. So take a shot and I pen him. This is probably one of the most let's say it's biggest setback to gun on this tank. The pen isn't enough most of the time, but right now you can see I'm bouncing the 100. He must have gotten really lucky if he would have penned me right there. Let's see where he hit me. Right up there. There was, of course, not a pen because of the great angling of my frontal armor. So I just keep on shooting this commander's hatch on the VK, and I see that this guy is moving up. The VK has 2,500 life, and he's still at 1,400, so he's still a danger to us. But somehow this guy, maybe it wasn't his day, but he was doing some really bad mistakes, making some really bad mistakes. So right now you can see I'm right here. I'm just penning his lower plate, going back to AP, and my team is kind of slowly falling apart. So if you're a one-on-one with this tank, it is really difficult. You can see right. I'm gonna stop it real fast. I have to start it again. This guy just shot me somewhere around here, and there was no pen. A go round and no pen because he had a really bad angle. He still shot, and this is one of the things, one of the aspects on this tank that are incredibly great for one-to-one combat. So right there you can see our FV. My team is falling apart. FV is dead. And right here, he didn't aim. He hit my gun, and he wasn't able to pen me. So right now, you can see this tank is huge. It's really large. It's really long for a tank, and the reload, which is 11 seconds and 55 milliseconds, is actually pretty nice, and for this kind of caliber. So right now, the E100 misses. I take him out, and yeah. So you can see now we have the Lorraine at our ass, and this Loka Bear is taken out. The FV is gone, and it's only me down south and the entire team up north. And unfortunately, we don't have the best options right here. So you can see the 50B was the first guy who penned me. Second shot was a bounce. Third shot was a pen. And a bounce again, or 0 damage. You can just see that this armor is really reliable. So I take a shot at the Lorraine. Move up. I move up. I see that the 50B. I knew that 50B was a much bigger threat, but still I knew that I wouldn't be able to take out the 50B and the Lorraine, because the Lorraine would have taken me out. So I just decided to go for the Lorraine, and now the 50B pretty much got me, and you can see the only weak spot up front on the Is7 is its spec, and now this is pretty much just the fail. This game really describes or really shows really well the one big problem that World of Tanks also has, and that is the stupidity of tier 10s. This FE is AFK, the IS4 just doesn't know how to play, the E5 doesn't know how to play, and the Waffenträger doesn't know how to play. And I mean, this is one of the things, how can you let these people get tier 10s if they don't know how to play it? It's one of the most frustrating experiences in this game, and I'm just gonna speed it up a little bit. You can see that I was just looking at this FE, I was thinking maybe it was just having lags or stuff like that, and right now you can see the IS4 is right here, E5 is taken out. He was sitting at that spot right there. He got actually pretty lucky that he didn't got taken out a lot earlier. So this Waffenträger is up there, just sitting there at that spot. IS4, and I think the IS4 is going to take a shot at the 50M, and pretty much he's dead. Yeah. The Waffenträger keeps sitting on top, and he takes out the 50M though. He takes him out, and the Waffenträger is really one other problem is that a lot of players are just way too much focused on the kill. They're just tunnel visioning toward the kills. So right now you can see he's taking out, he's taking a hit. He shot the 50B, and right now check this out. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. There's an IS4 coming up here, and instead of focusing on the IS4, the Waffenträger just tries to still shoot the 50B and gets taken out. Bam, slow motion. So this is pretty much the one loss I showed you. The Is7 really delivers, even if it's if you're playing against several players at the same time. Its armor is really one of the greatest things about this tank, but the gun and the traverse speed really can make it a lot harder. So let's switch over to the results, game results. This is the second game. If you just saw the screen after results, I had I couldn't record it somehow, so I'm just gonna tell you something. I did 4,500 damage to them. I scored the top damage in my team, even though my team was actually playing pretty damn good. In my opinion, the enemy team was actually worse. And yeah. You could see that I did 5,000 potential damage, which is amazing. I got 12 hits, 12 enemies hit me, or 12 hits hit me, and of those 12, 10 penetrated me, and you can see I got 5,600 potential damage, which is pretty damn high. If I would have played a little bit smarter, I probably would have taken out the 50B first, then the Lorraine, and maybe I could have still turned it around a little bit. But yeah, it just shows you how powerful this tank is in a situation. If you're on a one-on-one, you could see that VK was really having a hard time with my armor, even though he was a really good player. So right now, if you know how to play Is7, you can really be a pain in the ass. So right now we're playing on, let's see, we're playing on Abby, and we have a fabulous team. They do have some Havoc guys on the other side, which are really, really good players. Wait, yeah, and now you see I get spotted. I pull back, I move up, and I bounce a 268 shell. I got really lucky there. Actually, it's not luck, it's just this tank. It's incredible. If they hit your upper plate, they're gonna have a hard time, even with gold ammo. And this gameplay now should show you, or at least give you a little bit of taste how the Is7 handles in a sitting war, like if two parties are just sitting next to each other or facing each other. So yeah, we're pushing the 1-2 line. It's pretty much my favorite spot on Abbey. The Abbey is my favorite spot for medium, for my medium tank, but still I don't have a lot of luck on Abbey. On the Abbey. And right now you can see this guy just took a really big hit from the FB. 1,700 damage, and I knew there was this Havoc guy, and this guy knew exactly what he was doing. I was trying to get his lower plate right there, but unfortunately I didn't get him right there. And this guy, of course the 268 player, is a really great player. He's in the Havoc clan, and I'm trying to play a little bit safe. I'm trying to angle my armor, and nobody wants to take a hit from the 268. Artillery unfortunately can't get him, and I will not jump out there to get him. So what I did right there is I re-angled my tank, went down to this ditch since I was able to. Unfortunately I didn't aim really nicely, and this guy, he had no clean shot at my lower plate, so he could only shoot my upper plate or my turret. And it worked like a charm. He didn't pen me, and right now this guy, he was falling back, so I penned him on the side. You can see the problem of this tank is still the gun. I would probably pen him with a gun from like the E50M, or if I loaded gold right there, I would have probably penned him. So there's this bad shot right over there, and I don't get how I hit him, how I didn't hit him. So this bad shot player, he's loading gold shells. He's just sitting right there, waiting to get hit, and yeah. So we're pushing the entire line. We already pushed past the 8 line, and I thought it was time to push. So I pushed, and now you will see just the power that this tank possesses with its armor. I go around the corner, put in a shot at the M103, and right now I did something stupid. I angled my tank a little bit, and now M103 actually he penned me, but still I was able, since I still had a lot of HP, I was able to survive it. The bad shot is still coming out and trying to pen me, but even with his HE ammo, he's bouncing all over the place. You can see I even bounce shots on my lower plate, and bounce shots on my upper plate, on my turret ring, and it's pretty damn. You can see it's pretty damn impressive, the armor on this tank. And it's like the perfect tank for spearheading. For spearheading, pretty much, just for pushing enemy tanks. And right now you can see we just take out the FV, no, the Centurion, and pretty much the game is over. So in my opinion, it's a perfect tank for spearheading. It's like the equivalent of the Forge 155 for heavy tanks. Forge 155 is pretty much for breakthroughs because of its great armor, and this tank is too. It's not a sniper tank. In my opinion, it's a great tank. I will show the after game stats. 2,000 damage, a few thousand potential damage received, I think. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of review. If you did, please leave a rating, comment, whatever. And I will probably make this 1 week because I have to learn for the next exam that is coming this week, and I will probably do the next one, which will involve the Badchat 12T, next week on Saturday, I think. So I will see you guys until then. I'll probably upload some other videos, but up until that day, I will not upload another review for heavy tanks. Okay. So yeah, see you guys.